Hi Homeworthy, I'm Tess. Welcome to my Georgian house in East London. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Tess Atkinson. I'm a publicist and welcome to my home in East London. So this is my Georgian home in East London. It's the end of terrace in Stepney Green. And previous to us living here, it had been derelict for many years. When we purchased it, it was completely uninhabitable, bars across all the windows and doors. And yeah, it was in a bit of a sorry state of affairs. We're in a row of 3 and a couple of the other houses had been renovated. So there was like a light at the end of the tunnel that we could see. So we bought it during the height of lockdown, where you couldn't even have builders at one stage. And we renovated it room by room whilst living here. Luckily, this all happened before my daughter arrived. So it was just the 2 of us. And yeah, pretty much everything in this house we have changed. Some of the features we've tried to reinstate. A lot of the original features had been taken out, but it's such a sweet little terraced house. We knew that there was potential here, and yeah, we just really wanted to pursue it. Our house is coming up to its 200th birthday, so it was built in the 1830s, and previously it looked a bit worse for wear in that it was dirty on the outside, none of the bricks had been looked after. So from the front it has the London stock brick, which is like this nice yellowy colour, and at the back, because these are old workers' houses, you can see that they used all different types of bricks to like make the back work. So there's 3 different colours of bricks, which you might see when we look at the back later on. It was really worse for wear in that all the windows were different. So the original sash windows had been slowly replaced over times with different horns, which are like the top edges of the windows. And so we restored and reinstated all the original horns and made it double glazing to make it more energy efficient for now. But yeah, it was pretty ugly duckling, but now it's a beautiful swan for sure. Welcome to my kitchen. So this was originally 3 rooms and we have made it one big space. So we have slightly paid an ode to the Georgian heritage of the property by having a little scullery area, and then we've brought the kitchen out into the dining space to make it, you know, much more sociable and pleasing. So we have like 2 kitchens in one, in that we have these Duval units. These are part of their haberdasher range, so really nice wooden tones with the copper worktop. And then we also have units from Plain English Kitchens, which is their standard shaker cupboards, for the scullery area. This marble is like really special. So this marble is puzzled together from a couple of pieces, which I found on eBay from a stately home that was throwing out a bunch of stuff. And it was incredibly cheap and nobody wanted to do this job for me. But I eventually found a great marble fitter who saw the vision, and he polished it all up for me and created this amazing worktop and shelf. And it's this amazing brown colour, so when you spill stuff on it, you don't really notice that much. But it's beautiful, definitely the highlight of this part of the kitchen by far. So all these units are painted in Farrow and Ball breakfast room green. And then the green kind of brought out lots of different other colours with it. So we've kept the green on the shelving on this side, but you can see that we've styled things with like drip cups that I found on Instagram. Basically everything vintage I source on Instagram. They're amazing vintage sellers on there. The plates I also found on Instagram. Again, you just can't beat it. And then this is Nikki Haslam's balcony stripe, which I was desperate to use somewhere in the house, and it covers up our washing machine. I love that fabric so much. I would love to have a whole room of that fabric one day. So one of the highlights for me is this sink, which is by Shaw's. I love a fluted sink, and it's such a favourite design detail for me. And I am also somebody who uses a washing up bowl, which I know not many people do, controversial nowadays, but I even have a beautiful washing up bowl. It's beautiful drip. I found it in this amazing store in the north of England called Restory, and I just love it so much. Vases are kind of like an array of recent purchases and old. So this one is from Spitalfield's Townhouse, which is another Georgian townhouse, but in the heart of East London. And they do all these amazing vases and they do amazing decorations at Christmas. It's a proper East London, like, stalwart brand, and we just love that vase so much. And then you can see over on this wall, this is kind of like my daughter's takeover. We're still at the age where it hurts throwing away a piece of her art, so it just slowly mounts up and I love it. So yeah, that's where we keep the ever-changing wall. And you can see she's also had influence on our fridge as well, which we cover in like magnets from our travels. You might notice that this fridge is quite significant in size. Potentially it may never leave this house because the window it came in through has now changed shape. So that's going to be here for the long term. But yeah, you need a big fridge when you've got a family. It's difficult to describe my design style. I would say that we have tried to be traditional on the fixed things. So we have like a nice neutral base and the colour is kind of brought in through all the insane furnishings and my partner would call them trinkets that I have littered the house with. There is like a mix of traditional and more modern pieces. I like to have like one slightly mad thing in each room, and I think each room has quite a few mad things in by now. And then also we have a young daughter who has influenced heavily. There's toys everywhere. Some of them are aesthetically pleasing, others are not. But there's a lot more colour now that she's part of the picture, and she uses every room thoroughly, but it also means we've had to think about the rooms in a different way. Like, for example, her room has a very comfortable floor because we end up spending a lot of time on the floor playing. So things like that have really influenced the style as well. So one of my favourite mad things is in our home is we have these lots of different vases, and a few years ago on Instagram, like the item everyone had was this Anissa Kamish bum vase, which is now very much out of fashion, but I am obsessed with ours. It's bright orange and it's of a bum. And then we also have these porcelain Staffordshire dogs, which my partner absolutely hates, but they're really fun. And I put like party hats on them for seasonal decorations as well. But every room has something slightly crazy in, and like there's different pieces of art around the house, which you'll see as I show you around, and all of them are, there's just slightly crazy things. Lots of bamboo furniture as well, which isn't to everyone's taste, but yeah, you'll see as the colour kind of comes out in different rooms. And then this section, we really liked copper, and without kind of by accident, it just became like the theme of the kitchen. The floor, I was like really inspired by like holiday homes and like a Mediterranean feel. And so these terracotta tiles, everything started from them. So once we got them in and this like sandy coloured grout, it kind of built up this like coppery tone that I wanted to keep going. So the copper worktop is very much not for perfectionists. It came bright orange, bright copper orange. And within like hours had started patinaing and scratching, and you can see that I've put something here the other day and that's melted across, and there's stains and all sorts of things. So it's not for a perfectionist, but it's so beautiful how it changes over time. I love it so much, and have built this collection of jelly molds and French pans as well. My favourite jelly mould is the unicorn one, which I got from Ratch Vintage on Instagram. She's an amazing seller, and actually my unofficial unicorn dealer. I have some little unicorn miniatures upstairs from her as well. But I love the jelly molds. I need to add more, I think, if anything, above the top. So maybe that's coming soon. And I talked before about like having a mad thing in every room, and like this is definitely the maddest thing in here, which is like this crown fruit bowl. Again, I found on Instagram. Just a wonder of Instagram. So when it comes to art, I really do believe that you can put anything on a wall, and especially when you've got children and they have lots of crazy art habits early on. So this is like one of my favourite pieces in the house. Last Christmas, we took my mother-in-law to Claridge's for lunch, and this is the children's menu, which my daughter completely attacked throughout the meal. But I framed it afterwards because it was such a special event, but also like really like a reminder of a chaotic but nice meal. Obviously I wanted her to be sleeping peacefully throughout the whole thing, but that didn't happen. And no, this isn't the colours I would have chosen if I was curating the drawing of this, but it's just a reminder that you just kind of have to let things go when you've got kids. So that's one of my favourite pieces in the house. And another one of my favourite pieces, which My partner thinks I'm completely insane about is this peppermill, which is by Saskau Studio. It was so expensive for a peppermill, but when I got a new job, this is how I celebrated. I bought myself a peppermill, and I think more people should celebrate that way, to be honest. So yeah, I sourced a lot of vintage on Vinteria. This is a purchase that I got through them. This is a Spanish brutalist stool, which is just the perfect bum shape. And since I was a kid, we always had a stool in our kitchen. So I always wanted to have one in mine when I eventually moved out. So I've always had a stool in the kitchen, and it's just like a nice place to perch whilst someone else is cooking or anything like that. So that will be in every kitchen that we ever have, I think. And then this wonderful shell, which should have fruit in it, but I need to do a shop, is Matilda Goad. I'm obsessed with Matilda Goad and everything she does, and we've got her handles in other parts of the house. But the shell is the iconic piece that, yeah, we've had for a long time. And this piece is a print from John Constable, who's an old English painter. And yeah, it's one of my favourite pieces of his. It's called The Trees. And I bought it at like his exhibition when I was a teenager, and I've like had it in like lots of different flats when I was like moving across London, and it's just a really special piece to have in my kitchen now. And then this tiny little version of the kitchen is our miniature version of our pantry area for our daughter. When she was a newborn, on my maternity leave, I painted this basically to look exactly like ours, which is kind of hysterical, but also a maniac thing to do. But yeah, we love it, and she literally plays with it every single day when we're cooking, so it was definitely worth the craziness of doing it. So the newest addition in this kitchen is this banquette seating, which is by the house upstairs. Jodie is my favourite Instagrammer. We are long-term Instagram friends, and yeah, I was so excited when she launched her furniture range, and this is from her. So it's a red striped denim, which means that I can wash it. But it's just beautiful, and it like ties this whole room together perfectly. And so the red stripe is complemented by this blue trim, and red and blue is my absolute favourite colour combination. And it is in every single room of the house, kind of without realising it. So we've got the red and blue rug, the blue stairs with the red features, and it will just, as we go around, you'll see that it just pops up kind of everywhere accidentally. I didn't mean for it to run through the house, it just does. I used to be really interested in film, and I studied film. And so this poster is the poster for Bringing Up Baby, which is one of my favourite films with Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. I've had that forever, and it's always been the centrepiece of a room in every single flat I've lived in. And then these pieces this is actually my uncle in his Mini. He used to be a racing driver. So this is a nice little special photograph that I had framed recently. And then over here we have a painting from a really special place called Tarragona in Spain, which is where me and my partner visited, and he bought me that for a birthday one year. So yeah, lots of little special pieces. And this is actually a sketch of the Chiltern Firehouse, which we go to every year the day before my birthday. It's a really great spot for celebrity spotting. If you're ever in London and want to see a celebrity, you have to go to the firehouse. They're always there. So yeah, it's fun, and the food is good as well, which helps. And the last time I was there, we were sat next to Demi Moore. So pretty good one. I think that's our best one yet, actually. We were blessed with a very mature wisteria in our garden when we got this house, which we didn't really even realise because we moved in during winter. So it didn't mature for a good 6 months until after we'd moved in. But it slightly became the bane of my existence because you have to constantly clear all these leaves and stuff. But I did want to have a special ode to it in the weeks that it's not flowering. So I kind of painted with Annie Sloan chalk paint this like ode to it on our fuse box. You know, you have to make these things slightly more romantic. And so that's, you know, housing, you know, toilet rolls and stuff, and also our fuse box and something beautiful. And the stairs are painted in Cook's Blue from Farrow and Ball. And yeah, we'll go up to the living room next. Welcome to my living room. So when we first moved in, we made this room the like safe space of the house, and it was originally yellow, bright yellow. And we brought this sofa with us from our previous place, and then this sofa is actually a sofa bed so that we can have people to stay. But this then eventually like matured as our taste matured throughout the renovation. So that we then painted it this grand James White colour from Farrow and Ball, which is a lot more grown up than the yellow that it was before. And we've got some beautiful pieces of art in here. This piece is by Ren Condry, and we found it in Cornwall on a holiday there once. And my partner actually surprised me with it for my birthday. He actually hid it under our bed for months, and I had no idea that it was there. And then surprised me on my birthday. So kudos to him for that one, because that was a good one. And this is a new piece that I got recently by Ollie Marr, and it's a Victoria Park, which is our local park in East London. And yeah, it's a really special piece for me because I spent my whole maternity leave trudging around Victoria Park, and during lockdowns, it was a whole route of Victoria Park, because from here to Victoria Park and one lap and back is exactly 10,000 steps. So that would be our daily routine, would be that we would trudge around. So that's a really special piece for us. And then here and over on the other side, we have two pieces by an amazing artist called Kate Wickham. These are like really, really special pieces. Her use of colour is amazing, and I love all the shapes that she uses, like more of an abstract style, which I love. And then this one is by Jane McCall, and she does a lot of art like from the Charleston House, which is part of the Bloomsbury set. So it's this beautiful style. You'll see like the painted furniture and things on Instagram, and yeah, all these people, and I just love all the colours of the pieces in this room. And the other standout piece for me is this mirror, which is by Folie Chambre, and it's the black and white stripe, and it is the absolute showstopper of the house. Everyone comments on it when they come in. And yeah, I just love it so much. It's really playful, but also like really grounds the room. So yeah, I love that piece so much. I do have a habit of buying the incorrectly sized pieces of furniture. You'll see some of that later on. But this was a purposeful miniature sized purchase, and she literally sits there and watches TV. She loves having her own size chair. So that's a really special piece from Find FYND on Instagram. So yeah, I love that piece so much. And then I'm a lamp addict, and the lamps in here have changed many times. But one thing I can never get over is the wavy lampshade. So these are from Munro & Kerr, and they're a Considered Space collaboration. And we have 3 of them in this space, and inevitably I will get more of them because I always come back to that shape. I just think it's so classic and always fits on whatever base you've got. So yeah, I love that shape so much. Nobody really needs a holder for matches that's ceramic with a strike on the bottom, but I have loads of these because they are beautiful. So this is from Quince's store, which is one of my favourite online shops. She curates the most beautiful selection of pieces. So yeah, she has these. I know at the minute they're also doing like a ceramic candle snuffer, so that's next on my shopping list. And then candles, obviously everywhere. This is a Loewe one, which I love. And over on this side I have more candles, but also a little catch-all tray, which is the Lacquer Company's collection with Rita Koenig. So it's actually Rita Koenig who has that rule of, she calls it one ugly thing in every room, which I've changed to one mad thing in every room. So yeah, I'm a big Rita fan. So yeah, I love having that in the house. And underneath you can see my pile of books that I need to read. This is my to-read pile. So yeah, I really need to start digging into them. So this is a vintage Dalvera sideboard, which was sourced for me by Diorling, who's also on Instagram. She's an interior designer. So even though we have a Georgian style house, I really love like mid-century furniture. So trying to fit mid-century style in with like more traditional features is something fun I like to do. The flooring that we did in here is much more French Parisian apartment than Georgian house in London, but we loved it so much that we kept it uncovered for over a year. So we didn't have any rugs in here. And then when it got to winter, we realised we really need some rugs, especially when you're sitting on the floor playing with kids the whole time. So we found this rug from Nordic Knots. It's not a perfect rectangle. It's got these lovely little features in. And I love this piece so much. And the colour is just another yellowy colour that really ties this room together beautifully. And when you live this centrally, you need some privacy. So we added cafe curtains in the front windows of our house. These are from East London Cloth. They do really special cafe curtains in this really soft linen, and we used these hospital brackets in between our triple sash to make it really just like, it's like jewellery for the room. I love it so much. And the curtains are from Ian Mankin. They're this really nice picnic gingham fabric, and I'm lucky enough that my mother-in-law is an ex-seamstress, so she actually made them ones for us. So yes, very lucky there. I love leopard print in my wardrobe. I wear a lot of leopard print and it does feature throughout the house quite heavily as well. So leopard print is very much a neutral for me. So I like to have it as a base. And so these cushions obviously ground this whole room. And this is one of my favourite fabrics. This is Nympheus from GPJ and Baker. And they do it in this really nice white as well, but I love the dark fabric a lot. So all the colours of the room are kind of tied in to that fabric on the sofa. We've got various light switches throughout. We mainly went for dimmer lighting, but not always the most practical as it's very difficult to wire up. So these satin boards are used throughout, and you will end up buying these at great expense and they won't always fit on. And my top tip is blue tack behind them. That will keep them in place. So yeah, I love these toggles, really nice. We didn't have a hallway in this house to maximise on space, so the front door just opens straight into the living room. So it was important that the colour matched inside as well as outside. And when we bought the house, it had a pistachio-green door. So just to keep on, the heritage of the house, I kept the pistachio-green, but I slightly updated it. So this is pea green from Little Green Paint Company. And yeah, it was the original namesake of my Instagram account, which used to be called Pistachio Terrace, because we call the house Pistachio Terrace, named after the door colour. So yeah, I love that colour so much. And yeah, it was definitely the inspiration for the rest of the green in the house as well. So the renovation of this house took about 3 years. And my friends will still tell me, like, when do you think you finished it? And I will say, like, last week. But it was a long process to make every room nice. We started with the bathroom, mainly because I was in a state of I didn't feel clean when I left my shower. So we changed the bathroom within pretty much the first 2 weeks. And then we made this room livable, so we made it nice. And then we circled back to this room right at the end when we've gone through all the other stages. The biggest change we made is that we made the downstairs one big space. So it was originally a galley kitchen with a separate dining area and a little corridor and built-in storage. And we opened all that space up to make it one big kitchen diner. That was like the biggest change that we made. So it involved knocking walls down and lots of structural beams going in and things like that. But otherwise the rest of the house was just things like flooring changes, leveling. Old English houses have like wonky floors, wonky ceilings. Some of the wonky ceilings we left in, but the wonky floors we did level out. But yeah, pretty much everything got changed eventually. We didn't realise we wanted to take on a renovation of this scale, but when we saw the house, we just kind of knew it was the one. Like, I grew up in London and always wanted a house with a stoop. Like, that was of huge importance to me. And this house has a great stoop. And I just loved that we could like have this outdoor space as well as indoor space. And because it had had so many sales had fallen through, the owners were like desperate to get rid of it by the time we came up. It just felt like fortuitous timing. So we decided to jump in with both feet, and we kind of didn't expect it to be so extensive. These old homes do have a way of opening themselves up to you once you're in them. And we had a lot of fun doing it because, like I said, it was during lockdown for one of the phases. We ended up doing some things we would never try ever, out of necessity. So we laid the kitchen floor ourselves, and we, chose all the paint colors. We did a lot of the design ourselves, which we probably didn't realize we were going to do. And we've been green-fingered-ish outside in the garden and tried a bit of landscaping and stuff. So it really has made us be a lot more creative, and neither me or my partner have particularly creative jobs. So it's been a nice little outlet on the side. And now we'll move into the study. So welcome to my study. This is very much the home of all my books and magazines from my teenagedom all the way through to today. I have loads of nylons, Lula, I don't know if anyone remembers Lula, I have all of them. Love magazine, Vogues, Elle's, everything. And no pressure on my daughter or future children, but they need to appreciate them, otherwise I have no justification for why I've kept them this long. But it is nice to kind of refer back to them every, very, very rarely, just to see how fashion comes around again so quickly. It's hysterical. And most of them have Alexa Chung on the cover, who is still my style icon to this day. So yeah, nice to have a place for all my magazines. So one of my favourite magazines was Lula. I think I have every issue of this. But yeah, this is a very special magazine, which Leith Clark ran. And yeah, you still everything in here is in fashion now and features Zooey Deschanel and all of these good people. Yeah, I love having all of these to hand. So I keep all of my books on the top. These are very much ones that I've read, so I'm very militant on if they're not read, they go over there, and once they're read, they move into their permanent home. So all of the books at the top have been thoroughly read and enjoyed. And then the rest of the stuff is all of the silly ceramics that I collect. You will notice that they have moved up, like I said before, because my daughter can now get in at this level. So her toys have started becoming part of the styling. But all the beautiful stuff on the top is still very much relevant. So this is one of my favourite things. It's a paper geranium. So geranium's my favourite flower. And this is by Plants for Shade. And she makes paper flowers, which are so beautiful. And obviously, if you're not as particularly green-fingered like me, then it will never die and it's always going to be beautiful. So that's pretty special. And I have more paper flowers as well. And these are a recent addition. These are these Brutalist candlestick holders, which I love so much. Same with my horse, which is from Neptune. I kind of mix vintage with new every now and then. So yeah, that's actually new, but it still fits in really nicely with all the old stuff. And these are the Staffordshire dogs that I mentioned earlier, which these are my partner's most hated things in the house. And I love them to death. And yeah, I saw Townley Terrace, who's this other great Instagram account. She puts like birthday hats on them and stuff at various holidays throughout the year. So we have started doing that too. Just in spite of my partner, to make them more part of the household, which I love. This is the aforementioned bum vase as well from Melissa Kamish. This is pretty special, this. Yeah, my partner gave me this many, many, many years ago, so we love this one. This is a vintage watering can. Obviously, everyone needs a vintage watering can. And this one is a snake skin. It's made of brass. And if anyone actually used it for water, I would be absolutely furious at them. But yeah, this is a thing of beauty. It was an eBay find many, many moons ago. And yeah, now my daughter fills it with shells every now and then, which is what you can hear rattling around. And every now and then I'll find blocks and stuff that she's put in it as well. But yeah, that's a nice piece, completely unnecessary, but important for us. And then I've also got photo albums as well. I try and do a photo album each year of my daughter's life to actually print out so that we can look through them and stuff. So yeah, they're really special there. And then also this guy, we go to Ireland every year, and there's a place in Dublin that makes these little Irish guys for GAA, so this is Gaelic football, and a little Irish football player from Kerry, which is where we go every year. So he's a special piece. So the design of this bookshelf kind of started with the seat. I knew originally this room had like a really weird cupboard here and then like some broken shelves on this side. And I knew I wanted to do something that built in all of it, because also this is our waste pipe and you need to cover that stuff up. So I wanted it to be clever in how it like covered things up. So we knew that had to be in there. So I wanted to have a shelf at the top. And then I wanted to have a place for my magazines. So that was specifically designed for the magazines. And then this kind of fell into place because we originally had, when my partner worked at home, our desks here. So we faced each other. And then over the years that's changed. But this was always a good spot because if somebody like came round or anything, they would sit there whilst we were at our desks. So it was kind of like a play of that way. So we've used this fabric backing, which is more comfortable than you would think. And then, yeah, like a shallow shelf. And this is a pillow by Katie Tackler in the Lasso fabric. And I just love that so much. That's one of my favourite fabrics for sure. So I wanted to bring it in somewhere. And it makes this space quite girly, which is quite nice now that it's just my study. And then this flat weave rug is a new addition from Studio Rond, who I've also found on Instagram. But they do these amazing Swedish flat weave rugs. And this just, I bought it thinking I didn't have a space for it and then put it in here, and it's just perfect in here. I love it so much. And I'm also a basket addict, and like rattan weaving kind of like filters into the furniture as well. So I've got an amazing, that's from Firm Living, that plant holder, which is holding that plant who I've had for about 6 or 7 years and is a total Day of the Triffid's beast now. But really happy that she's got a lovely little base, and same with the lamp, which is basically a basket in lamp form. So yeah, nice pieces then. So this light is vintage off of Etsy. It's actually a rise and fall lamp. So when my desk was originally in here, I could pull the lamp really low to have over my desk as I was working late. But now it's just like funny, and my daughter will like do a little performance under here, as it were. But yeah, a classic rise and fall from like the mid-70s. So yeah, I love that piece. And yeah, just really fun. And I love the gold of it as well. We've also got a pink ceiling, which kind of like gives a pink vibe throughout the whole space. So you do kind of read pink even though it's off the ceiling, which I think is a really nice feature. And then this is the main original feature of the house. So this is the wooden panelled wall that runs all the way through our house. And on this side, it's got really nice detailed mouldings, whereas on the other side, it's just plain. And that's because they put detail on the side that guests would have seen. So this is really special. We try not to hang anything on it or anything like that, just to keep it as nice as possible. But it was caked in paint when we arrived. So that was quite a restoration journey. But yeah, really special to have that as part of the house. And we've got another piece over there by Ren Condry, who's the same artist as the big piece in the living room. Yeah, I love her stuff, so really nice to have another one of hers. She actually nipped round to deliver that one when she came, and it was so funny, like opening the door and being like, hi, and her like piece of art was like in the background. I felt like a super fan, or like, it was, yeah, very awkward. And then these are chick blinds, which I've got here and also in the kitchen. I order them from Opium on the King's Road, but a few places do them. And they're just like a really nice added texture in a room to add a bit more privacy. And obviously they go up and down. And yeah, I just love the shape of them and the natural texture that they add to the space. So my favourite thing about my house is our bedroom. It is a blue haven and it's so comfortable, and even though you can't really do anything else other than sleep because the bed is like 90% of the room, it's such a special space, and I love the blue colour. Like, blue is my favourite colour, and it kind of seeped into every single room. But yeah, I love that room. It's got really nice joinery in with a special wardrobe, and yeah, it's a great space. So you can see the cook's blue runs all the way up the staircase in the house. And you can see on this side, the panelled wall also continues up to the top of the house. This is the more basic framing I was talking about, where it doesn't have the mouldings on the side where the guests wouldn't see. So this is the rest of the house is much more basic on the original panelled wall. This is a really good way of filling a huge wall slightly more cheaply than buying a massive piece of art. It's a Suzanne, which I hung on a curtain rail. This I found literally just through scrolling endlessly on Etsy. And yeah, it's the blue and red theme of the house. And I just sewed it really crudely over a curtain rail to hang it. And then we've also got a collection of pictures from Fei Weiwei, which are from her magazine. So they're just cut out pieces of paper, which they just form a really nice collection there. This is a vintage vase from Lot Archives, which is a newly launched vintage archives shop on Instagram. She's also an interior designer as well, and I love that piece so much. So that's pretty special. And then this is James White as well. The space is painted the same colour as the living room, so we don't have any doors that connect downstairs to upstairs, so we just kept the same colour flowing throughout. And we've also painted the walls in eggshell paint, which is my top tip for durability because it's basically wipe clean. And it also gives this really nice sheen. So we've only got a small window in the hallway and the light still bounces around because it's this eggshell paint. So that's my top tip, is use eggshell on your walls if you can. So welcome to the main bedroom of the house. This room, like I said before, is like 90% bed because I believe in a super king size bed in every single room, if possible. So this is our bed, which is from Loaf, and the blue theme is strong in here. I wallpapered this room myself with this from Gallery Home, which is this light blue stripe, which I was worried might be a bit trippy on the eyes, but it's actually like really delicate and nice. And then from there, everything kind of fell into place. And this blue is French Blue by Edward Bulmer. And I think it's the best blue, the defining blue, as it were. And I want it in every house that we ever live in. So this wardrobe I designed because, so coming into the room, I didn't want to have like just a hard edge of wardrobe when you walked in. So I wanted to have a curved door, which was trickier to get made than you would think. So yeah, this bit houses shoes and then the rest is clothes. And yeah, it's just such a special built-in wardrobe. It feels really unique, and yeah, I'm really pleased with that result. And then we use Matilda Goads handles and hardware, which kind of make it feel a bit Elvis Presley, which I think should maybe be more people's design inspiration in their home. And then this piece is a strawberry piece from a gallery on Columbia Road. When you're pregnant, you have like this app that tells you what fruit size your baby is constantly. And we like thought of our daughter's name when she was the size of a strawberry. So we always refer to her as our strawberry. So that was a piece when she was born that I was given by my partner. So that's a very special one. And then before I got the piece from Ollie Marr downstairs of Victoria Park, I actually attempted to paint Victoria Park for my partner. And that stays kind of, he says it's so that he can look at it every night, but it is slightly hidden away in the house, which I don't, argue with too much. And then we've got privacy cafe curtains in here as well, again from East London Cloth. I love them so much. But we also have a view of this beautiful blossom tree just out the front, which is kind of rare in East London to have somewhat of a green view amongst the tower blocks. Yeah, that's really nice. Side table, I bought a pair of during lockdown and I completely redid them. So the marble is the same marble that's in the pantry downstairs, which I got offcuts made to fit perfectly on top of each. And then the handle is Beata Hoyman's bow handle. She does amazing hardware as well as being the best interior designer. But I love that handle so much. So we've got matching ones on each side, which I painted in Obsidian Green from Little Green Paint Company. And then these lampshades are the lemon design from Alice Palmer. She does really fun, beautiful box pleat lampshades. And this is, again, Beata Hoyman's collection for original BTC. And they do the best lights, like the definition of the best lights, really classic. We've got some in the kitchen as well, and just super beautiful quality and perfectly like this milk white. And yeah, I love their lights so much. And this is, the red from her collection, which brings back that red and blue theme that kind of falls through the house. And the bed itself is from Loaf, and super comfy. I really believe in an upholstered bed. I don't understand people that have wooden or metal frames because I read a lot, so need to be able to sit up and read in bed. So yeah, upholstered the whole way for me. The bedding is from Bedfolk. It's linen bed sheets. I do not iron it, I'm afraid, sorry to say. But super comfortable, I think. Linen bed sheets are the best bed sheets in my opinion. And then this is from TB Co. And yeah, I found that quite recently actually, but obviously the red and blue thing was happening and I just went with it. Because yeah, what a thing of beauty. I love that. And I love the checkerboards. The home comes alive when my daughter is in it, for sure. She brings a whole new energy to this house because you realise that you can't be that precious about things. We have a set of bookcases in our study and all the breakables have like slowly moved up the shelves. And it just, initially I would obviously want my vases to be perfectly styled across each shelf, but she just makes you think about things in a new way and you begin to appreciate, things in a totally different way when you have a little girl running around. And just like that you can't be too precious. And I think that's like the best way to be is, I do have like lovely plates and things that I would love her not to touch, but if things break, it's not the end of the world, and there's like beautiful ways that you can fix them. And yeah, she has definitely energized this house in new ways that we could never have thought of. Next, I'll show you my daughter's room. welcome to my daughter's room. So this room definitely is the most fun in the house. Even though it has a neutral base, we did bring in a lot of colour. So we have a bright red feature wall on that side, which is part of the original wooden panelled wall, which is painted in red earth from Farrow and Ball. And then Dimity is the other colour of the room, which is this nice neutral base, which reads really pink in here. And we decided to do a gallery wall in here because she just has so many little trinkets and things that I wanted to use. And so my approach to a gallery wall is to just put one thing up and the rest will work because you'll force it to. So there's so many nice pieces in here. I don't even know where to start. This is a greetings card from the village that her grandparents live in. This is a Slim Aaron's photo, which we had framed. This is also from Find Homeware, which I mentioned before, FYND on Instagram. This beautiful little Swedish ceramic lion. And then this is actually a hair bow, which I wanted to hang for her. And this is a framed tea towel because she's obsessed with croissants. She will eat upwards of 7 a week. So she's obsessed. And so I just framed a tea towel. And there's also a mini ceramic croissant as well up there. The lampshades are from Alice Palmer again. Really nice stripe, which brings in the blue and red theme for this room. And then this is our newest addition. It's a wall hanging from Moppet. Really beautiful whale themes. Even though my daughter never really showed any particular interest in whales, it was the theme that I dictated for this room, and she does have a lot around. So this chair is the first thing that we bought for the room, and it was originally a basic club chair, which I got for £3 off eBay, and then I had it reupholstered in this denim blue with the white piping. When you have a new baby, you spend a hell of a lot of time breastfeeding and reading books to them and stuff. And I knew I needed a chair in this room, and the club chair was the most comfiest style. So yeah, that has been very well used, and we still read a book or 3 every night to her before bed. And then this is another Katie Tekla cushion in this Benison snake stripe, I think it's called. But yeah, I love that fabric. Really beautiful, which is kind of like feeds into the rug style as well. And the rug is from The Roost, which is like this online shopping place, which is really beautiful curation of all these different homeware brands. Yeah, I've got a couple of things from them. The lamp was from them as well. And we've got another Plants for Shade there, which again will never die, so that's always going to be there, which is very special. And some vintage toys. This is a vintage Noah's Ark with the animals, which is so cute. And then a vintage train as well from House of Brunswick. She's on Instagram as well. So yeah, some really nice pieces in there. These are the unicorns as well that I mentioned before, also from Ratch Vintage. So yeah, there's a couple of nice pieces on there. That teddy bear on the end was a gift when she was born, and it's actually got the area of London that we're from on the left foot and then her date of birth on the other foot, which is quite sweet. So some pieces that I bought for the house have worked perfectly because the measurements have worked out to the centimetre. The set of shelves over there, for example, to the centimetre fit in that space. So that's a huge vintage success. But some don't work out as well. And I thought this set of drawers was going to be a lot bigger than it was when it arrived. But now it's my daughter's pride and joy. She hides all kinds of miniature books and miniature toys in there. So that's very cute. And then this wall hanging is another amazing Etsy find. Literally just searched horse wall hanging because it became horse themed for a while, but I love the colours of this piece. It's this nice metallic embroidery as well, so it really pops in the sun. So this room has changed a lot since she's even been born, so she's 2.5, and it's already had like many iterations. So she didn't even sleep in here for the first year she was with us. So this was very much like a playroom. And she was like have her changing mat up here and things like that, and it has really evolved as she's grown. I think the next iteration will be that like we'll have to move things around again to fit beds and stuff in here, but I love how it keeps changing and all the fun new pieces that you can add into a space. Like I always find like new cushions I can add. These are from a local mother and son duo called 510 Laundry, and I love these cloud cushions. Which I bought recently for her. But yeah, there's always things that we change, like the bed will extend at some point out, and yeah, that would be a fun new way to figure out the room for sure. This painting's very special. It's of a town in Croatia called Renovation, which is where my partner and I went, and it was actually where we had our first consultation call for IVF, which is how we had our daughter. So we decided to get a painting of the village. Well, he bought it for me as a gift, and we've hung it in her room because this is kind of where it all began. I love the colours so much, the oranges of the room, like just picked up every single colour of this whole room. So yeah, that's a really special one. My one piece of advice if you're starting a renovation is don't rush decisions. The decisions that you rush will be the ones that you change. So if you can take time, then do. We did a lot of things out of necessity because we did things quickly to make sure that we, hit deadlines and things like that. But I would try and slow down. Like if I ever did a renovation again, I would want to live in it for a period first. Figure out where the sun hits in the right place, figure out where you really want to sit down and have that coffee. And those decisions make for such a better home. Like I love when you go in someone's house and they've got decisions that, you can only make because you've lived in a house for 20 years. I think that's the sign of a really nice, homely house. Next up, I'm going to show you the bathroom. The Georgian architecture of this house originally didn't have a bathroom inside, so there was a toilet in our garden with a delightful asbestos roof as well, which we got rid of when we moved in. And so this bathroom has kind of been shoehorned in by taking space from the 2 bedrooms. It doesn't have a window, but what it doesn't have in natural light, it blooms in other ways. And so this is stone blue from Farrow and Ball, and I put it on all the panelling in the room, and it's just such a sophisticated blue. I love it in here so much. And the handles are the cherry red handles from Matilda Goad again. And the floors, we kept these, we put in these really nice contrast marble tiles from just Tops Tiles. So they were nice and reasonably priced and things like that. And then the walk-in shower we've fit in, which was originally a bath. I decided to change it into a walk-in shower just because there's a beam in this room and it felt like you were just clambering into the bath. So I wanted to open the space up a bit more. And we've got an archway kind of theme going through the house. So there's an archway here, there's an archway in our living room, and then there's the archways of the bookcases in the study. And I wanted to continue that in here. So we've got these really big porcelain tiles from Porcelain Superstore, topped with a pencil tile just to make it a bit more sophisticated, and brass hardware in there. So we've mixed the hardware throughout, but yes, it was as refined as I could make it in what was quite an awkward shape. But yes, I'm very pleased with this room. And we've also got a vintage mirror in here, which does actually light up from behind usually. So that's a really special 70s piece in the old home. So I made sure that we have art in every single room. So these are 2 pieces by Print Sisters Archive. Really colourful, nice pieces, and I painted the frames as well. So I didn't want this room to feel too bathroomy. So the panelling makes it feel more like a room, and the art makes it feel more like a room too. This is from Pookie Lights. Pookie do great, really, really well-priced lighting. And yeah, I love that brass in here. And then I do feel passionately about toilet roll holders, and I think that they should be held at both sides. And this toilet roll holder is the most beautiful available on the market. I think it's called Aston Matthews, the shop. Good Bones, who's another big Instagram account, Good Bones London, she has the brass version of that as well. And yeah, I found our conversation recently where we were talking about toilet roll holders, and it made me laugh. Everything is special in a interior designer's house, and I love that. So I started my Instagram during lockdown because we bought the house when we couldn't see our friends and family. So I wanted for them to see how we were getting on, mainly because my parents were extremely worried about why we'd bought a completely uninhabitable house during lockdown. So we wanted to reassure them that we were doing okay. And then slowly I found loads of ideas on Instagram. Like, I'm an obsessive scroller, and it was just serving me so much good stuff. Like, there's so many other great content creators out there that were really inspiring this house. And I really do feel like this kind of house was built by Instagram in a way, because there's been so many things I found on Instagram, loads of the vintage I source on Instagram. But I guess it's resonated because, it's just a normal house in London. Like, it's very rare to have a house in London, but this is just a nice modest one that is somewhat achievable, and we haven't gone too over the top with super expensive finishings and things like that. Like, we've spent wisely, and yeah, maybe that could be why it's resonated with a couple of people. Welcome to our walled garden. So I'm not very green fingered, but this very, very mature wisteria was here when we arrived. And you have struck gold because you're here during the 2 weeks that it flowers during the year, which is absolutely incredible and definitely the highlight of the year when it comes to our garden. But there's a lot of original features. The walledness was really special, so we wanted to add this wall as well, which was originally a fence, and we kept the original brick pathway which goes to the end of the garden. We originally had this awful huge outdoor toilet here which we knocked down, but we kept all the bricks from the building and created a little outdoor patio area with the bricks, and that's exactly where the sun hits first thing in the morning, so that's the perfect morning coffee spot. So I love that area. And then this is where we do all of our hosting over summer. The patio we added in is Indian limestone, probably needs a clean. And the pots are all just been recently filled for you. So yeah, hydrangea is my favourite flower. So I have about 5 in the garden, which are just coming up now. So this is a good time for them. And yeah, there's also, I added some lion feet to all of my pots, which are just a bit of that's my one mad thing, I guess, for the garden, the lion feet. This is some jasmine, which is growing up and desperate for the light when the wisteria is stealing it all. And then I've got hydrangea coming up on these sides, and these are a couple of roses as well. So the yellow rose always comes first, and then later on we've got a bright pink one here that will come down in a few months. But yeah, I do my best. I'm not the best gardener. So for us, home is definitely a place of like meeting and having our friends together. We are definitely the hosts in our friendship group, and same with our families. And like this home is at its best, like at Christmas, for birthday parties. And yeah, I love hosting people, and like it's so special to have a home and be able to host people. And that is something that, you know, that really means something to me. Homeworthy, thanks so much for coming around my house, but Instagram isn't going to scroll itself, so I better get back. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.